Hello, Sip and Bloom Nation. Today we are featuring one of my favorite floral arrangements. This is the palm blossom arrangement, and it's in the tropical Oasis color scheme. But before we begin, we have to start with one of my favorite parts of Fulton Hard Seltzer. This is the blood orange flavor. Cheers. Yum. Here at Sip and Bloom, we're so excited to continue to feature local breweries, cideries, and seltzer makers here in Minneapolis. So, now that we have our Fulton open and we're ready to design, I want to grab one of our sun palms. So you'll notice there's two different size sun palms. We're going to actually use our shorter and wider sun palm. And this is going to sit at an angle, really beautifully off to the side. And we're going to just go ahead and push that sun palm on an angle all the way down into our Oasis. So our Oasis is florist foam, and that's going to keep each of our different elements in alignment over time, but you want to sort of be very intentional with where you're placing each stem. And so now that we have our focal point in there, we're sort of going to counterbalance that in an opposite direction. We're going to use this, it's going to sit a little bit higher, and just push that down. The stems are sort of making an X, and so now you'll see, I actually want to angle even a little bit more, so you'll notice when I want to change something, I just pull it directly out and start from the very beginning. Push that right back down there. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now we're going to grab our very beautiful citrus colored dry daisy, and the dry daisy is going to sit at the front of our arrangement. Again, we're sitting it at an angle, and we want it to sort of sit close to the vase. By placing it close to the vase, you'll notice it starts to break down that really strong line weight that the rectangle-sized vase often creates. And just by doing that, letting it hang over a bit, the eye is instantly drawn to it. So now we're going to grab two pieces of our burnt sienna eucalyptus. We're going to grab a really tall piece and a sort of shorter, wide piece. So we'll start with the shorter, and that's going to sit towards the back of our daisy, angling opposite of it, and sort of sitting down nice and low. And you'll notice what that does is it just starts to blend the different elements that we have going on here. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use sort of the back of the arrangement with this really tall piece. So we'll decide what angle we want it to sit, and this will just kind of bring in that really beautiful height to our arrangement. Look at that. All right. So once we have those in there, we're going to grab 3 more pieces of eucalyptus. And again, we're just going to start to cover our corners, uplift our different elements, and bring balance to all of the pieces of this arrangement. I love when a piece of the eucalyptus sort of peeks through past the palm. It's so good. All right, so now that we have that going, I want to actually switch really quickly to our highlight, which in this case is a peacock feather. We have 3 peacock feathers, and then you'll also notice that we have a few smaller pieces. These are going to be used to sort of ground the back of our arrangement, just to create that really beautiful depth and complexity to our arrangement. But we're going to start with one of the heads of the peacock, and this will sit opposite of our daisy, pushing down into the Oasis. Again, they're sort of playing off of each other, and when we have 2 elements working, like these 2 are, we're going to counterbalance it with our tallest peacock feather, which will sit towards the back, and you're going to sort of braid it into the other elements. Beautiful. So that can sort of sit in front of the palm, behind. You get to take a little bit of liberty with that. So you'll see, we have our focal point. We have a really strong line weight that's headed in this direction. So we're going to use our last eye of the peacock to sit opposite down in this direction. Right? A beautiful trifecta of peacock feather. We have a ton more of the burnt sienna eucalyptus. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this, 360 it around. I guess it would be 180 it around, 180 it around. And we're just going to use a few of these pieces to bring a little bit more of that foliage towards the back of our arrangement. The idea here is that if you can see any of that green oasis, you want to use some of your filler flower, which in this case we're talking about the burnt sienna eucalyptus. We're going to use it to fill those areas out. I think that looks spectacular. So now we're going to bring this back around and we're going to say to ourselves, okay, where do we need a little bit more complexity? So I want to use this behind our focal point flower to add just a little bit of texture. A few more elements here. We really want the eye to go straight to that focal point. That's really going to create a fabulous point of difference in our arrangement. So now we have two more of our smaller pieces of peacock feather, and so these will sort of be used to draw the eye to the peacock's eye. So I'm going to send one back in this direction. This is really coming together beautifully. So now we just have two more pieces, and they're going to sit one in the back, one more in the front. And look how that shines. Cheers, Sip and Bloom Nation. I am so happy to be designing with you. I hope you get the opportunity to make one of these beautiful arrangements for yourself. C'est la vie.